Welcome back to another episode of our podcast, where we explore journeys of professionals who have pursued legal education abroad. Today, we have an exceptional guest with us, Mr. Mayank Sahni. Mr. Sahni is a dual qualified lawyer in both England and Wales, along with India, and a recent LLM graduate in international trade and commercial law from Durham University. With over 2 years of professional experience in India, he has worked on high profile corporate law matters, mergers and acquisitions, and has a strong interest in corporate law. His combination of academic achievement and diverse professional experience across jurisdictions provide him with a unique vantage point. We are excited to hear his insights on navigating legal practice in both India and the UK and his valuable advice for aspiring lawyers. Without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Mayank to the show. Hello and welcome to Brief Encounters. It's an honor having you here, obviously. So let us begin with our first question. This is something that we ask all of our guests, but the situation is slightly different for you because you come from a family with a background in chartered accountancy. So was there ever like a moment of doubt between following a career in like finance or law, and then how did you eventually make the definitive choice of law?
First of all, thanks for inviting me. See, like I come from a CA background. My dad is a CA, and he became a CA where my family has never been from like my dad and like his parents never had the money, and he always had this thing that I want to become like rich, more successful, so that I can give my parents that life that he never got. So his idea was to become successful so that he can make his parents proud and he can give us, his children, the same life that he never had. And obviously, he wanted to enjoy the same life. So seeing him, most of the family members, like my cousins and everyone, they actually wanted to be like him. Because in my family, I think my dad is the most successful person. And when you are growing up, you see your cousin like having few things that you don't have, and then you're like, how can this person have this? What are they doing that we are not doing? So they understood that my dad is a CA, and they were like, I want to be like a CA. I want to earn as well. Same was with me and my sister. We were like obviously for everyone, their dad is the hero, right? And they would want to become like their dad. So I was like, my sister, obviously, she's 2 years elder to me. So she started her CA career before I did. And when I graduated in 2013, I was like, Dad, I would like to become a CA. Though my accounts were so bad, I did not even knew about the golden rule, debit, whatever that was. I don't even remember now. So I was like, Dad, I'll become a CA. So let's see how things go. I gave my CPT. I think I got only 84 out of 200. I was like, okay, fine. Because when I was like studying for it, I had given so many mock tests. I had like my score around like 130, 140 every time. I was very confident when I was going to give CPT, like MC questions, how difficult could it be? I got 84. Okay, fine. Second attempt, again, out of like so many numbers, I still got 84.
Oh my God.
Like exactly. So 2 times I gave CPT, both times I got 84. I was like, I can't do this. And most of the people, like obviously most of the lawyers would be watching this, but for the CA students, you have to study 10 to 12 hours continuously. More than that, for CPT, obviously you can study less, but I was studying 10 to 12 hours and still I got 84. So my life was so monotonous. I was like, I can't live like this. I am not going out anywhere. I am not enjoying my life. I better join something which I might enjoy. And the closest thing I could at that time think of was joining law school, because my dad has his own CA firm. Best way to support him was to become a CA, but now I can't be a CA. So let's uh, focus on law so that I can start a new branch with his firm's name and work with his clients so that, build an empire basically out of his local law firm, local CA firm. So that was the idea. So that is when I was like, let's join law school. And at that time, my university, NorthCap University, was known as ITM, Institute of Technology and Management. I think before my batch, there was only, I think, one or two more batches which were going to pass out at that time when I joined.
Oh,
so
it's
it was
very
new. It was new. Yeah, it was very new. And that was my only option because most of the universities were not like accepting the applications anymore. So this was the only one I was like, I'm not going to waste time. I have a dream. I will join law school. 1 year, I'll do my best. And second year, if I want to, if I feel like migrating to another university, I'll keep working hard, give CLAT next year, and join the best law school possible. Okay.
Right.
So I joined the ITM University, and I realized that it's not the college that makes smart students. Smart students just follow you everywhere. I was like, before I joined, I was like, these guys are going to be stupid. I'm going to be the smart one here. Again, doesn't work like that. So many smart people, so many smart people. And I was like, shit, I was so wrong. First semester, I scored around 8.6 GPA. I was like, it's fine, not bad. Yeah, I was among the top 10 students at that time. And then I was like, I don't think I need to migrate. I think this law school works for me. Also, I was procrastinating, nothing else. I was like, who's going to study? I've already made friends. But the thing is, which I say to some people, that law doesn't have to be like something you're very passionate about. But if you are, you don't need to study much. Because I genuinely feel like I have never been the person who studies a lot. Just listening in the class to what the lecturer is talking about, making notes, I think is enough, especially for people who are in law schools. Like you can, just go through it. If you understand law, as long as you understand law, everything is going to be fine. You don't have to mug things up, because if you start mugging things up, you're going to miss on a lot of things. Because if somebody gives you a question where you have to an example or illustration or something, you won't be able to apply those because you have mugged things up.
Yeah.
So I think it's more about understanding law than learning the law. And obviously, you can impress people with, oh, I remember this section. Section 8 is formation of a company. Section 146, 149, 164, all those things. You can generally tell, and people will be impressed. Oh, at least he remembers. That will work in an interview, not in the law school. In the law school, you have to understand the law, because in the end, no one cares about which section do you remember. Obviously, basic sections you should remember, Article 21, all those things, sure. But when you're working for someone, then it's a different thing. When you're studying, it's totally different. So that is how my law journey began, by not focusing on law at all. My focus was on becoming CA, and I ended up becoming a lawyer. Wow. So because I failed CFT twice, I am here, and I do not regret anything. Whether I might have regretted my decision if I would have cleared the CPT, because now I see so many people like CA aspirants struggling to become a CA because it's so difficult. That subject itself is so difficult. So I would say law is a very good course for people who are running away from becoming a CA and who have failed a few attempts. But yeah, that is my story, how it began. A failed CA student who became a lawyer and then became a solicitor. Yeah, if I can do it, believe me, most of the people can. Who just put more effort than I do, because I'm a procrastinator. I do not like studying. I just like to listen to people and then come up with things. I love arguing. That is my favorite thing. Like moot courts weren't my forte. My forte was 1v1 arguments. Give me some time, I'll read about it and come back to you. And that was my forte. That's it. But it's fun.
I mean, I would say in a way, at least you're honest, first of all. I don't think anyone enjoys studying law as much. It's all about interpreting and understanding. You're right, mugging it up is not going to get you anywhere, because you might remember provisions, but how long are you going to just remember these sections for? You need to know how to apply them.
True.
I believe in organic growth towards something, especially when it was something that came out of nowhere. I think that's one of the best ways to go about it, rather than having a set plan in your mind and then trying to follow through with it. Yeah, it's a new innovative way, and it's a great story to tell. Definitely.
It's more like see, life is such where you have a plan. The plan might not work.
Yeah.
You need to have a backup plan.
Of course.
If you do not have a backup plan, then it becomes difficult, because then once the plan fails, because luck is something that may or may not be in your favor. So you have to focus on other things as well.
Yeah.
If this thing doesn't work out, sometimes, yes, life opens another gate for you once your plan fails. But to be cautious, it's always you should focus on having a backup plan. That's it. I did not have a backup plan, but because I come from a family who are very well educated, who knew how to get me into a law school or other ways to do it. Not everyone has those funds. Not everyone can do it. So I think backup plan is something that I've realized one should always have it. And I know some people might think like, if your plan A is very good, you should not have plan B. Sure. But you have to be very careful because life doesn't always give you an opportunity. Grab whatever you get and then make the best out of it.
I mean, that code that we learned back in school, life is what happens when you're making other plans. So you could have a stuck path and then something would completely go wrong and you can't control it because
True.
that's just how it is. You're right. And so, like you mentioned, you did your bachelor's from NorthCap University. Can you tell us what your experience was like? What skills or insights did you gain in this college?
So again, I'll come back to CA in this. 5 years of law school, and I got the degree B.B.A. LL.B. So like the batch before me were told that after 3 years, you will get your B.B.A. degree, and once you finish your 5 years, you get the LLB degree.
Yeah.
So some people started quitting the law school altogether after getting the B.B.A. degree. So now college was suffering from loss because they're not getting the payment from them for the rest of the years. So that was my idea as well. I won't quit the law school, but I will get the B.B.A. degree and then apply and then leave the CPT because now I am a graduate. I will jump into IPCC where like I can continue my CA journey altogether again and prove people
So passionate
that,
about
yes, I can.
CA.
Yeah, no, not that. I just wanted to know people that I can still clear the exam. Not clear the exam, obviously CPT is far gone, become a CA.
Right.
So I can rub into people's face that, see, I failed CPT, but I managed to crack CA. But then I realized that I am like very less focused on law then. I have to, law is not that easy as well. It's not like any person who can become a lawyer. It's not that. It's like you still have to study hard for it. It's easier from becoming a CA, but still it is still difficult. You have to focus on a lot of things, like learning few things, what the section says, understand what the provisions are, rules, and all these things. My experience, I have had the best lecturers. That is one reason I did not migrate to any other university. We had a lot of guest lecturers because the law school was new. We could we had some lectures on retainership, but there were many lectures we had to bring them from other colleges, from other universities, even from like lectures from international colleges. But for those people who think that if they are going to another college like ITM, like new colleges, or like somewhere which is not NLU or NLS, I would still say, like, you can still become a very good lawyer. Still, you don't have to be from NLU to become a good lawyer. Yes, NLU gets you an advantage and it will get you in better universities. Like, not better universities, it will get you in the same universities, but in an easier way.
Yeah.
You don't have to prove a lot to the university that, like, if you are from NLU, sure, you can show that this is your CGP and people are going to get impressed, international students, international colleges. But me, who is from NorthCap University, nobody knows about it. ITM, still people knew about it, but after they changed their name, none of the people knew about it. So when I was applying for this college as well, Durham, my grading system to get admission was different from the students who were from NLU. So that is something different. You will get in Durham. I'll also get in Durham. It's just a different way, different approach that other universities pick. But I think that is, I would say that irrespective of what university you do law from, as long as you have good lecturers, good courses, good subjects, obviously you have to make, I think, I'm not sure about the other university, but I'm pretty sure it's the same. After the third or fourth year, you have to like either take corporate law, like company law, corporate law, or constitutional law. Is it same for you as well?
Yeah, we
You have to select
the subjects.
Yeah. So that is one thing. Yeah, that is one thing that students should focus on. That when selecting which course they should pick after a certain, so that they can focus only on that. And because your journey to become a good lawyer starts from your law school, from the subjects that you select. If you are selecting, let's say, corporate law, it's better that you continue your career in corporate law, because I was asked to, like in our college, we were asked to remember all the provisions, all the sections from company law. The whole company law came in the test, the whole company law. And that was the most difficult task in my life that I had to do, study and learn all the sections, because the exam could have come from any other section. It was a 100-mark exam. That was one thing.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that was one thing. I had to go back to my CA tutor and learn and sit there for hours and hours learning, mugging all the company law section. That was my point. There is no point in mugging things up. I don't remember anything.
Yeah.
I remember a few sections now. Like out of the, I think how many, 460, 470 sections, I remember 10 or 15.
Oh my God.
I will remember, yes, what the section says. If I just like read the heading, I'll be like title, I'll be like, oh, this is what it says. But remembering the number, I can't do it. Now I can't do it. But yes.
I don't even expect that though.
Exactly. But yeah, that was the experience. Like you learn, we were given like most of the universities in India, we had subjects from all the areas like environmental law, company law, constitutional law, CPC, CRPC, everything. Even SEBI, we was asked to we had the SEBI course as well. A lot of subjects that you get to choose from. I think people, when selecting the course, they should be very mindful like this might help them in the future.
Yeah.
And when writing a dissertation, I would say select one of those subjects you actually you want to pursue a career in, which I did not. That is why I would say in my opinion, people should actually focus on that. I remember writing a dissertation on, I think it was something about farmers, like environmental law.
Yeah.
I was about on farmers. And that is what I continued in Durham as well. I like having an international trade and commercial law degree. My dissertation was on renewable energy in India, renewable energy in India and how it's progressing and what it was. But now, even now, I am not seeing my future in renewable energy because in India, we all know renewable energy is like, I have no idea where it is.
Yeah.
We barely see any electrical cars. Sure, it takes time, 2032, whatever the year is, they're going to start promoting more electrical cars. The problem is, India is still a developing country. We can consider underdeveloped country, but it takes time for a country like us to grow. We do not have that much funds to promote renewable energies. So it takes time. That's why I do not see my future in environmental or energy career here. That's why I had to change, because in the UK I was a paralegal, in-house paralegal, where all the cases were coming to me, like criminal case, because I was working for a construction company.
Okay.
And there are so many areas when you are in-house paralegal, you have to protect the company and the owner.
Mm-hmm.
So all the things that I had studied were helping me in some way or the other.
True.
Even though the laws were different, obviously, at least you know how to read the law. That is the main part of going through law school. You have to learn how to read the law. Whether you go to US, you go to UK, Netherlands, any of the countries, you should know how to read the law. You will learn, obviously. Any person who comes to a new country will be inexperienced. He would not know. Have a 10-year experience in India. You go to UK, you will be still considered a fresher in terms that you still have to read their law, and you'll be hired as a paralegal because you're not a solicitor. You are here. So you will join as a paralegal. No matter who you are, you will start as a paralegal, because the work of a paralegal and solicitor is the same. It's just the signature of a solicitor. Yeah. So whatever you study in the law school, which I did, and a lot of subjects that I had studied, same in Durham, totally different subjects, but all of those things helped me to be here in general, having a talk with you on this podcast. But yeah, my experience in general was good, going through all the subjects, best lecturers I could study from, and good courses and everything.
That's great. After completing your bachelor's in law, what motivated you to specialize in international trade and commercial law for your LLM?
Nothing actually did. The thing was, when I was filling the application forms, I was just actually trying to run away from India. I was more into going to UK and have a new life there. Everyone wants to have that independent life away from your parents, especially Indian students. Like they want to have that freedom. So I was just looking for one of the degrees that would actually help me in the future. Mm-hmm. Not totally. I wasn't being a foolish kid that just get me out of here. I wanted to go out, but yeah, I wasn't motivated or anything to pursue in one LLM degree or something. So different colleges that I applied to, like even in different countries. Like I applied in Canada, UK, Netherlands. In the end, I was more into going to the UK, and I was like to have that UK life. Everyone talked about UK. UK is this. UK is that. UK is this. I was like, Canada was full of Indians, and I was like, why go to a country where India is already a country where we have Indians. Why would I go to Canada where get to meet more Indians? So yeah, so I was like, UK might be the best place for me to settle, and I was going with the intention to settle. Netherlands, the reason I did not go to Netherlands was I had to learn the language Dutch, and Canada, most like obviously you can get away with speaking English, Punjabi, whatever. French is also their language, so I was like, I don't want to learn another language. So UK was the only country I was like, okay, let's go to UK. And different colleges had different, obviously, LLM degrees. I had applied in KCL, King's College London, Manchester University, and Durham. Only these three. And KCL, I think I actually don't remember if I actually was offered an conditional offer or not. Manchester I had, and Durham. So, and in the end, I was supposed to make a decision. Where should I go? Durham, Manchester. I got an admission for I think corporate LLM, and in Durham I had international trade and commercial. At that time, when I was writing my statement of purpose, I remember I had written that I want to work for WTO, and that is why I am taking this course. Even though I am that one of those guys who want to work like for a government company or something, so that you have a lot of perks, even though you don't earn much, but you have a lot of perks. I'm more into having perks than earning. So I was like, okay, let's get into this. But again, plans change, and I am again here not following what I had thought of. But again, having a backup plan helps. So nothing motivated me to to go for international trade and commercial law. But that was the option that I had, which I picked. No regrets still, but yes, it helped.
Great. Wow. So Durham University, I mean, I saw pictures. It's one of the very few places where students get to live in a goddamn castle. So did you ever get the chance to study or stay in this university? And how does living or staying in such a historic setting feel like?
Okay, I'll break many people's heart when they actually, when so Durham is one of those universities, like I think Oxford and Cambridge. It's a university, but it has 17, 18 colleges within its university. So, which basically are like hostels. You represent that hostel when you take admission in Durham University. So, when you're applying for Durham University, you have to also, and you get the obviously offer, you get to select which college you want to stay in and represent. You don't have to actually stay in that particular college. You can find your own accommodation, but if you have to like mention everything. So University College, also known as the Castle, is one of the colleges among the 17, 18 colleges that Durham has. I am sorry, you do not get to stay in the castle.
Oh my God.
So you don't get, as an LLM student, you don't. There is another accommodation for you guys. The only people who get to stay in the castle are undergrads. And also the castle looks beautiful. It was also, not many people know, it was also where I think Hogwarts, the Harry Potter first movie, Hogwarts, was shot. Like the play area, the courtyard was actually Durham Castle's courtyard.
My God.
So that is why most of the people, and UK is known for Harry Potter. Everyone in the UK loves Harry Potter. So most of the people who were also not from the university college, they would come to university college just to get their photos clicked near the courtyard.
Makes sense.
So but yes, you do not get to stay in the castle. That is one thing everyone thought. My another friend, we all thought that we'll be staying in castle, but when you get to select the room, you realize, oh, it's not the castle that you stay in. It's studio apartment that you get to stay in. But also, for all those people who have their hearts broken that they don't get to stay in the castle, one thing, on the inside, it's not that good. I have been inside the castle. Obviously, the rooms aren't very massive. They're very small rooms. They are shared rooms. I don't think you get a private room there. They are expensive, definitely. You are a bit away from most of the things. And Durham itself is a hilly area.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, there are hills. So for where I was staying and the university college main headquarters, the castle, was like a 10 to 12 minutes walk, but hilly. So for some people, it's difficult. And most of the time, you would want to, like, if you're an extrovert, you would want to experience that university life, like university college life. And the bar is just next to the castle. So, because every college has its own bar, every college has its own bar. So, you would want to stay there close to the people from the university college and experience things, ask them how things are here. You want to, participate in some of the curricular activities happening. So, if you're staying away from the university college, you will have to come here every time, 13, 15 minutes walk. And also because where I was staying accommodation, that was Durham accommodation, university college accommodation, which was, I said, 12, 13 minutes away. It becomes a hassle. So sometimes you have to like go there and do certain things, come back. So I never clicked on those things. I was like, I'm not interested. Uh, Even like one thing about Durham was also that the whole city is just the university. The whole city is just like it has only universities, nothing else. Most of the people you meet are going to be students. And my law school was 30 minutes walk from my place. So most of the time you have to also, when you're going to Durham, so if you're going to Durham, you have to see where you're staying. Pick the college accordingly, I would say. So law school from university college accommodation was around 20, 30 minutes walk. Obviously, you can take bus, which I never took, but you generally can and you should. If university college is your dream, where you want to stay, it's not worth, like, I wouldn't say that university college, because if you want to stay in Castle, you don't get to stay in Castle. You get to stay in the studio apartments, nothing else, which has so many rules again. So it's same as like Indian hostels. Like there is going to be someone to stop you from having fun. It's the same. Whether you're 20, 30-year-old guy, there's going to be someone to tell you, please, can you shut up? People are sleeping upstairs. And after, I think, 11 p.m., you are not allowed to make noise in the hostel. So otherwise the caretaker, the porter will come and ask you to please keep it down. Otherwise, we'll have to call someone and like take extensive steps, which obviously you do not want. So, but if somebody wants to get into Durham and they're selecting the accommodation, I would say go on maps and see how far is the law school from your college, because that makes a lot of difference. Because when I was studying, we had a hybrid thing, like whether you can go attend the class or online class, because we were still recovering from COVID. So Durham was providing hybrid classes. So I did not have much problem. But if your goal is to go there and study in the class, I would suggest it's better to find a place near to your law school, because even though it's right now when people are filling the form and they get the best college, whichever they're looking forward to, they'll be like, oh, I'm going to take this college. Good, you got that college. But the problem is, again, imagine waking up at like 7:30, 8 a.m. for a 9 a.m. class, and you have to walk 30, 40 minutes. You're going to dress up, you're going to walk, then you're going to skip the classes.
Makes sense.
So that is one thing you should focus on. Obviously, there you can always take buses, but believe me, once you go to Durham, you would not want to take buses because it's so beautiful that you want to walk through every time. You want to walk through the roads every time. You do not want to take buses. You want to enjoy the scenery. It is that beautiful. Like on the way, you will see the castle, you will see the cathedral, the Durham Cathedral, because castle, here is the University College Castle, and here is the Durham Cathedral.
My God.
And one of the most beautiful cathedral that you will ever see.
That's an experience in itself.
Exactly. Durham is itself one of the best cities. I've stayed in Durham, I've stayed in Newcastle, I've stayed in London. Nothing can be compared to Durham. Durham is the most beautiful city that I have ever seen in general. But you don't get to stay in the castle. That is one thing. Sorry.
It's all right. There's always going to be pros and cons. But the 30-minute, it's definitely too much. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Right. So, could you walk us through your LLM application process? How did you prepare? Any challenges you faced? And also, did you ever feel at a slight disadvantage because you were not from an NLU? I know you've touched upon that topic, but during your application process, did you ever feel like a disadvantage?
As far as I remember, because I had hired someone, Chopra's, the global Chopras to help me with the process at that time. And because like this was my first time applying for colleges, I had no idea how to go about those things. So I had to hire someone. So they were the people who were actually helping me out, and they did most of the work. I was just being called here to do certain things and do the payments. I did not remember actually the process. But for Durham, as far as I remember, you have to go to their site and enroll yourself. Like you have to fill the application form, select which degree you want to go for. You'll be given some of the courses and you have to select which course you're applying for, because on that course it will depend how many points do you need on your. If it's a conditional offer, I think for what Durham does is like you have to score minimum 7 points in your IELTS.
Okay.
And no component should be below 6.5 or 6.5, and writing should be above 7 or 7.
Okay.
So most of the people fail there. Like whether you have 8 points, but if your writing is 6.5, you won't get admission in Durham. So because writing is one important thing to them, that you have to have 7 points on your IELTS. So that is one thing that people might, like coming from a city where, let's say, NCR people, they can, not just NCR, obviously many people in India can speak English, but like especially what I've seen, South Delhi people are very fluent in English. Some people, when you're coming from like a remote place in Haryana, where my college was, so not many people could actually speak English. But if they have desire to go to the UK, they have to score like 7 in IELTS, and in every other like writing, reading, everything should be either 6.5 or above, except for writing, where it has to be 7 or above. So that is one challenge that everyone will go through, whether you are from NLU or NorthCap University, Sharda University, wherever. This is something that everyone has to go through. As I said before, the only challenge I would say, that NLU students and people like me who are coming from unrecognized universities will have is the grading system. So some colleges are not even on their list. So when you're typing the name of the university that you are from, it might not show up on the pre-prepared list on the website. So for us, because the name had just changed, it wasn't there. So I had to type it all through, and then my CGP, and then they will convert it to their standards. But if it's NLU, which they have already prepared the grade changing thing, it will be easier for people from NLU to get, like, it becomes easier for them, because NLU obviously is a very reputative university. Even people like international colleges, they know about NLU. Not many people would know universities like ITM, NorthCap University. So for us, that's the only challenge, that your unrecognized university will stay unrecognized on their website. So you have to mention the name and the CGP. They will convert it, put it through their system. And if it's like when it changes to like, mine was 7.4 in the end. So let's say out of 5, it might show up like 3.2 or whatever. Then you will get the admission. If it's like 7.1, and when they convert it and it's less, you won't. But for NLU, if the grading system for them, grading system is going to be different. That is the only problem that people from unrecognized colleges will have over NLU. But rest, I think we're going to study in the same university. As long as I'm a good student, you are a good student, we'll get through the same university. Because I have seen one of my friends who had just scored 5.9 CGP in NorthCap University. He wasn't getting any admission, like in any of the universities. Most of them were colleges. So people should know the difference between universities and colleges. Colleges will provide diploma courses, universities will provide proper course. So, and they're not worth it. If you have 5.9, I would say better stay in India. There is no point going to the UK with such a low grade. There's nothing bad in the low grade. It's just you will be wasting a lot of money and not getting much out of it. It's just that. So that is the only problem I think people are gonna have.
Makes sense. And okay, so many students struggle with crafting an SOP. I think that's a very essential part of this entire process. Do you have any tips or any elements that you think made your application stand out to the others?
See, we live in the era of AI. I think now it is easier to draft an SOP. You can just ask, it will draft you the best SOP. Most of the universities will know that it is from ChatGPT. So that is one thing that people should look into it, like drafting an SOP while like from the chat GPT thing. So I think that is one thing people should be aware of, that universities know where your SOP is coming from. Not just the SOP, all the exams that you're gonna be assignments that will be given to you in the university. They're gonna study everything properly. They're gonna put through the computer whatever the process is, and they will know if it's copied or not. Same with the SOP. I would suggest that there are certain things that you should mention in your SOP. You have to express yourself. You have to tell them that this is why I am taking this course. This is who I am. I come from this background, and this is something that motivated me to join this course. And obviously, you will also have to, like give them some, oh, your university is so amazing. This is the reason you have, you like Durham is one of the, like back in 2020, I think it was number 5th in the UK ranking among best law schools. So like all those things you have to mention. You have to impress them as well. Basically, it's just like impressing. When you go to an interview, you don't do all these things unless you've been asked. Here, you have to do all those things. You have to, you know, give them everything that they actually desire. Also, imagine you are somebody like a university or something, and somebody sends you SOP. Imagine what you're actually looking for. You have to put yourself in that place, that this is what I want when I'm writing, when I receive an SOP. That, okay, so because obviously not every university is going to call you for an interview. SOP is something that will explain the university who you actually are. What is your family background? What have you studied? What are your accomplishments? What is the topic of your dissertation in your last year? They want to know through it. They don't have time for your, take interview from every applicant. So SOP is something that you have to put all those things that a university actually is looking forward to, and something that you would say in an interview. So your background, about your family, a bit about your family, how much did you score in your university, how good of a student you were. You can lie, that's fine. They're not going to check it as long as you have good CGP. Then why this course you're selecting, and why this university, and your future aspirations. Sorry, yeah. And why do you like what is your main goal? Mm-hmm. Because they don't want, like, imagine you put something like, I don't have a code right now, or I'm still figuring out. There is going to be someone who already has things figured out. So that person will have advantage over you. So focus on that you have to impress them like the most. You have to impress them like more than the other person can. So you have to put all those things. You have to improvise. You have to, put forward your opinion, your, like, this is who I am through the SOP, so that you get a call back for an interview. Not all the universities have an interview system. Durham did not, but I think Durham actually has on their portal. I remember on their portal there was, if there are any upcoming interviews. So I think if they're not satisfied with certain things, then they might ask you for an interview. But most of the time, that would be in your conditional offer. Once you get the conditional offer, they'll tell you what are the conditions you have to meet to get an admission. But as far as I remember, none of the students who study with me got an interview call. So SOP is something that everyone should focus on. And because that's the only thing that people actually want to read before they ask you for an interview, or not, because then SOP is your interview, basically.
Yeah, makes sense. So Durham offers like a variety of interdisciplinary programs. Were you able to engage with any areas or any study outside of international trade and commercial law?
Okay, that now I'm going to speak about the law department of Durham University.
Okay.
This might sound like a dig on Durham University. I hope they don't watch it and, sue me. But I think one problem that most of the students in Durham in my batch had, because I think it's not even their fault to a certain extent. Everyone was coming through the COVID era. Even they did not have much funds, or the lecturers who were willing to come to the university every day and give lectures. So on the date where they were, introducing us to the lecturers and the courses, we got to know that for international trade and commercial law, there was no course subject. As in, like, let's say you take corporate law, okay, as your LLM degree, the core subject was company law. You have to study company law. That was mandatory. For international trade and commercial law, there was no mandatory subject. So It's up to you which modules you select from out of 10 or 12 courses that they've provided. You have to select the modules that you want. It's up to you. For international trade and commercial law, which I did not like, because most of the courses, that modules they had advertised, they were not there, first of all, because again, I would blame COVID for that. But they did not inform us beforehand. They only informed about it on the day we were being introduced to the subjects and the lecturers. So that is one thing I did not like about Durham. So now you're in a spot where, okay, fine, these are the modules that we have. And most of them may or may not sound like even remotely related to law, because you could also go for music. You could select music out of all the modules. If you want to pursue music, sure, then
But-
what is the law degree for?
Right.
So that is one thing that I have a problem with. They generally had a lot of courses when they were advertising, but when I reached there, not many modules. There was still a lot, but still less comparatively what they had shown. So I had like environmental law, renewable energy, I think mergers and acquisition, what else? I think competition law. Competition law was also there. And that is another like most of the students were very frustrated with competition law as well, because as far as I remember, the final project, that competition law of LLM, like people who were pursuing LLM degree and people who were in their undergrad final year, they had the same topic for the final project. So they had the exact same topic for the undergrads and the masters. So I was like, what's the point then?
Yeah.
What was the point of doing LLM?
It's supposed to be a
If
step ahead.
undergrad, exactly. So if the undergrad students are getting the same topic and the masters are getting the same topic, that is something I never understood, but I cleared my assignments. So I was happy. But because one of my friend's girlfriend, she was in the undergrad final year, and she let us know that, oh, we have the same topic. So I was like, okay, I don't know how it goes, but sure. So that was one thing that was weird about Durham. Rest, obviously, the courses were very nice. They were very well structured. Nothing bad about those things. It's just few things that you go there with the mindset that, okay, I'm going to study these courses. And then, oh, those courses aren't available. Blame COVID. Sure. To make yourself feel good about it, like it's not your fault or Durham's fault. Blame COVID. But I'm not sure if that was because of COVID or that is how Durham University works. But I'm pretty sure that's because of COVID. You can't bring so many lecturers to the university. Everyone has to wear mask and everything. Some people, and UK, like transport is very expensive as well. So if you're staying in London and you want to call the lecturer to Durham, it takes 3 hours to come to Durham from London, and it takes like if it's a peak hour day or something, it's going to cost you like 100, 120 pounds return. So those are things that many lecturers would look into unless university is paying for it. But something people should look forward into, which we did not because of COVID. But now I don't think there are any restrictions now in the UK. So people who are going to Durham, just see what courses you're being provided and confirm it with the staff that these are the courses that still going to be there when you reach Durham. So yeah, that is one thing.
Right.
But yes, they had a lot of modules which I picked on.
That's great. So it had its ups and downs, obviously, but that was obviously impacted by COVID quite a lot.
Exactly. So even in India, when you're staying in India, the colleges are going to be considerably cheaper than the ones in the UK. So you do not give much attention to those things. Oh, fine. And we blame the country. Oh, it's just India. This is what we go through every time. Whatever, it's India. Nothing changes in this country. Same in the UK as well. There are certain things that, other countries also have. But they are more vocal about those things.
Yeah.
And they were ready to make everyone sign the petition that these are the courses that we want. In the end, it did not help, sure. But I think there are some similarities when it comes to college life, not college life, but studying college life, like as a student in those universities, just in studying department in the UK and in India, you are always going to be angry at your university for doing certain things.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Makes sense. So let's go post LLM. You have experience working as a corporate lawyer at King Stubb and Cassia. And as a paralegal in London, what key differences did you observe in the work culture and expectations between India and the UK?
I would say that I did not get to work in the UK for a long period of time because see, I'll tell you the harsh reality of UK. Once you graduate, you will start as a fresher. As a fresher, that means you will be given jobs like of a paralegal. In India, people don't even give much respect to paralegals in general. So in the UK, paralegals are like the ones who lay the groundwork for the solicitor. So it is very difficult having experience, 2 years experience, whether it was my luck or something, I don't know. I wasn't getting much jobs. No calls, barely any calls or anything. I changed my cities from Durham to Newcastle and then from Newcastle to London looking for a job in span of 3 years. Like first year masters, second year Newcastle, and third year London. So in Newcastle, I had received a few calls for jobs in London only, and even in London, I got few calls, but they were only few calls. Once you like, you're always applying for jobs. Like you apply for 100 jobs in, let's say, 2 to 3 days, right? You might only get calls from 3 to 4 people, and then there are so many applicants who are obviously from the UK, who have already studied the undergrad degree from the UK. First comes the UK, like the Britishers. Okay, they're gonna have the advantage over you. Second comes international students who have studied undergrad from the UK. They're going to have more advantage. Then comes people who are more experienced than you are, who have already stayed in the UK for a longer period of time, who were in the same shoes as you are right now, but like 3-4 years ago. So now they have more experience. They will get more advantage over you and some people. So now you see where you stand, because there are not many jobs in the UK, but there's so many applicants, so many international students were coming to the UK. That is why they had to put a stop on immigration, because there were not many jobs for the students, for the people who were coming. And they have made such strict regulations for the in respect to immigration that it is so difficult for people to stay in the UK anymore. As a paralegal, you cannot stay in the UK. You have to do something different from the other person. So you have to be either exceptional student, or you have to boost your CV in such a way in these 2 years, because that is the work experience you get, like work experience visa, your work visa that you get after you finish your. So in those 2 years, you like make your CV the best looking CV ever. You have to get experience from the best companies, the law firms, and then in those 2 years, you should become a solicitor, so that your salary, so that the law firm or company you're working for will pay the minimum amount, that is 38,700 for you, because only then you can get sponsored. Otherwise, you will have to come back. So all those things, as these things are something that if you're planning to work in the UK as an international student, that is one thing that might stop your dream, because the work experience might not be as different from India. As I've already said, you will be asked to work like sometimes at till 8 p.m., 10 p.m. Because obviously in India, we like 7, 8 p.m. is nothing. We work here for 12 till 12 p.m. But the work hours there are different as well. Everything is so far. I was staying in East London and I had to go to South London every day, which is like, it took me 2 hours just to reach my office, which involved two trains, one tram, and 15-20 minutes of walk. So I had to wake up around 6:50 every day to reach my office at 9. And I never in my life I've reached at 9:50, 9:20. If I miss one train, I have to wait another half an hour.
Makes sense.
So these are the problems that I had, because here traveling is not that difficult. Yes, it takes 1 hour to reach Gurgoan sometimes. Yes, it takes, like in traffic, it takes 1.5 hours. But at least 1.5 hours, everyone is going through the same thing. In that office, there are 4 or 5 people. Some people who live nearby will reach before you, and then you will have to stay for longer period of time till like say 6, 7. And if the boss is not leaving the office, you will have to still stay in that office for the longer period of time. So nothing like what people think that, oh, I will have work-life balance in the UK. Maybe in some companies of some law firms they would, but I don't think people coming to the UK should have this mindset that they're going to have work-life balance. US, you will enjoy your life here more, but remember, you have to cook for yourself. You have to cook for everyone. Like shop for your groceries, all those things you would want to enjoy life. It becomes difficult. It is not as easy as people think. So, but here, like if you're living with your parents, you have maids here. You have a lot of people to help you out.
Yeah.
So UK is the place where either you're rich, you go as a rich person, you don't have to, focus on all those things. You can always order food, all those things. But how many times can you eat outside food? You have to control those things, but you don't get the time to cook food for yourself.
Yeah.
So work-life balance, it's like when it comes to working, it's the same. Out of work, life is worse in the UK.
Yeah.
Because now you have to do a lot of things and you don't get time for yourself. If you're working till 9 or 10 p.m., you will come home, you cook food for yourself and sleep, let's say at 1 p.m., because 1 a.m., sorry, and then wake up again at 7 or 8 a.m. for the job that starts at 9 a.m. So is it worth it? That's for the people to decide for themselves. So I would say Indian lifestyle, I would say Indian work life in that sense is better than UK. But again, then you are earning a lot as well in the UK. If you pass the threshold 38,700, also depends on which area of London you're living in, or if you're staying in Newcastle or something which is already cheap. Newcastle and Manchester are cheaper than London. So again, London has so many zones, 6 or 7 zones. The further you go away from the center, the cheaper the houses are. But then the travel is more expensive. Then. You are spending like 10, 12 pounds every day just to travel from your house to your workplace. So that is something that you should look into, but it's almost the same.
So the next question is, in few of your LinkedIn posts, I've noticed that you've mentioned terms like FLK, RFL, and SQE. Could you, for the benefit of our listeners and for me, obviously, give an insight into what these terms mean and what is the process in qualifying in England and Wales?
Okay, so many of the when you register advocate in India, you can apply for RFL, registered foreign lawyer, which will basically mean that you are now in the register of SRA, Solicitor Regulation Authority. So you get the SRA number with the RFL. So it makes you more legit. So when you're applying for the jobs, you can give them the SRA number, because that is something that the companies look into. Like, oh, you are a registered foreign lawyer. Okay, fine. You're at least, because as let's say I finished my LLM degree, I still have no proof of proving to the company or the firm that I am an advocate in India. Yes, I have the enrollment key, but they don't want to check. It has to go through the SRA, which is the main authority there. So you have to register yourself as a foreign lawyer, and then you get the SRA number, which is important. And which makes me come to FLK, which is the part of SQE. So SQE is the exam, Solicitor Qualification Examination, which I would suggest most of the people who are coming to study to UK should look into it. Obviously, the other thing is barrister. You can also, if you want to become a solicitor, then obviously this. Otherwise, barristers have different exam. So the difference between solicitor and barrister, I'm pretty sure everyone already knows. Solicitor is basically, you don't have to go, you still have to go to the court, but you're not, you need higher authority to go to the bigger courts like Crown Court. For a barrister, it's totally different. They are the one who are arguing on your behalf. So paralegals and solicitors, they work hand in hand. As a solicitor, you will have a team of paralegals. So you start your journey with becoming a paralegal, and then you become a solicitor. And then you will have a team of paralegals working for you. So to become a solicitor, you have to crack the SQE, which has 2 parts, SQE1 and SQE2. SQE1 has FLK1 and FLK2, 2 parts. Each part has around, I think, seven subjects. So in total, 14 subjects. But there are 2 subjects in both the FLK which will be tested in both the exams, FLK1 and FLK2. So when you're applying for SQE1, you will have to book 2 dates for FLK1 and FLK2, which is like a 6-hour exam, both. FLK1 is going to be 6-hour exam, and FLK2 is going to be 6 hours as well. Yeah. So in that 6 hours, you get half an hour break. Don't worry. In total, it's like 360. If I'm not wrong, I'm thinking if I'm not wrong. Yeah, it's around that. So let's say if your exam starts at 8:30, you'll be free around 4 or something, 4 p.m. or something. So you get a half an hour, 45-50 minutes break actually. You get 45-50 minutes break actually, but you don't actually take that break. You are still studying and eating food because it's like 6 hours. 180 questions, 90 questions in both FLKs. 180 in both FLKs. FLK is divided in 2 parts. as well. So the time is like 2 hour 45 minutes first, and then you take a break 1 hour, and then again 2 hour 45 minutes again. That's how it works. So 90 in both the parts. So in total, you have 360 questions in both the FLKs, so FLK1 and FLK2. And that's the problem with the exam. The exam itself is not that difficult. I keep telling people who have approached me on LinkedIn, the exam itself is not difficult. It's the study material you're getting and the concentration and focus that is required for these exams. This exam takes everything from you when you're actually giving the exam. It's like you're sitting in front of the monitor for around 5 to 6 hours, and you have to keep thinking. And there is a chance that you might leave some questions in the end. You miss some questions. Make sure that you have to read the question fast and answer them properly. Thing is, the MCQ questions that you get, they are very confusing. They're all very close to the actual answer. So you have to actually be very careful. One thing about SQE, there's no negative marking. There is no negative marking. So you can attempt as many questions. But obviously, you have to be very particular about where you're getting the course material from to study SQE. Because thing is, it's very expensive. It is, as I said, SQE1 is £1,800. SQE2 is £2,200. And coaching itself is very expensive. So let's say Barbary is one of the leading providers of SQE courses, course material. They charge £3,000. Yes, if you fail in the first attempt, the second attempt, like the course is still valid for you for another attempt, but that is it. Once you have cleared the course, you cannot access the course. So it doesn't stay with you. It just stays with you till you clear the exam, or you have wasted your 2 attempts. So if you have applied for Barbary course material, actually most of them have the same thing. You give first attempt, you failed. You text Barbary that I failed. You get another attempt with Barbary. In terms that you don't have to pay £3,000. You still have to pay the SQE1 cost. You don't have to pay Barbary the £3,000. But if you fail the second time, then you will have to pay. That is so you have to. That is one thing most of the people are scared of. It's not that they will fail the exam. It's about they will have to pay £1,800 again, and you get only 3 attempts, because after 3 attempts you are banned for a certain period of years. I think it's 6 years. I'm not 100% sure. For 6 years you cannot give the exam, SQE. And in this, like, you have to clear both the FLKs. Like, let's say for me it was I cleared the FLK2 first, and then I cleared the FLK1. And I think there are only 2, like in 1 year, there are only 2 exams. Like one is, I think, in January and the other one's in July. One in January and one is in July. And you get, for July, you get, I think, results in August, and for January, you get in March. So plan everything accordingly. And for SQE2, so SQE1 is more about theoretical knowledge. You are studying a lot of things and answering the MCQs. SQE2 is different. That is more of an assessment. Like, you will be given, like, let's say, a brief about a client, and this is what, let's say, the guy wants to draft a will. There'll be certain questions, like, this is what your boss will ask you to look into this mail, that this is what the client wants. And now, as the solicitor, you have to ask him the questions as a to the client. Right. So this is how they train for SQE2. So from the exam only, you learn a lot. In India, which is there's nothing teaches you except for the actual experience in the companies, working in the law firm or something. If, like, the bar examination in India, it means nothing. It generally means nothing. You become, like, you clear your undergrad degree and then you clear the AIB, nothing changes. Your knowledge doesn't change a bit. There is nothing that you get from the examinations. Here, when you clear the SQE, you actually gain a lot of experience itself. You learn how to write, you learn how to speak, you learn how to, like, you learn about all the laws. In India, everything is just open book. Yeah. And even then people fail. Or even then, it's not 100% success rate in India, which is sad. Like, all you have to do is just carry books, carry barracks as many as you can. And then I've seen people carrying suitcases as well. Yeah. But SQE, in terms, if you're comparing it with the examination here, bar examination here, totally different. Then compared to this, it's very difficult.
Makes sense. So,
and one thing, there is the passing percentage always keeps changing every time. So it's not like you might have to score above 56% to actually clear SQE1.
Okay.
Could be more as well.
Yeah,
58,
it's okay.
and I cleared it was more than 58%. So it keeps changing.
It's a good one.
So one thing you have to look into, it's not always 50%, it could be more.
Makes sense. Right. So this brings us to the last few set of questions. Pursuing an LLM abroad has significant financial challenges. How did you deal with these, and what strategies or approaches did you use to overcome any financial barriers?
I generally did not have much problem. It depends what family you're coming from.
Yeah.
It totally depends on that.
Makes sense.
If you're coming from a rich family or even like upper middle class family, then you can easily fund your dad, you probably your father will help you. That is something that most of the people that like I've met, like my other Indian friends, their father is the one who helped them pay for all the things like accommodation, university, obviously, transportation. Obviously, once you go there, you can always apply for a job.
Yeah.
Your BRP that you get, biometrics visa, that allows you to work 20 hours in a week. So you can obviously look into that and earn money from that. Obviously, there are minimum wages that you can easily get. You can work like in supermarkets or other like convenience stores or clothing brands anywhere and earn some money from there. So that is one thing people can do. But yes, getting into the UK, because I think you have to, when you're getting admission in one of the universities in the UK, you have to show a certain amount in your bank account.
Right.
I think it was around 30 lakhs at my time, 30 lakhs. So you have to show this much amount. So there are two ways to do it. One is you have 30 lakhs in your bank account, it doesn't move. Second thing is you take a loan, education loan. So once education, for in the first option, 30 lakhs, you have to maintain it for a certain number of days. So you cannot, like 30 lakhs in your bank account, you cannot move them for a certain number of days. Let them be there for the universities to know, okay, fine, he has the money. When he comes to the UK, he won't be on the road. The second is once you get is going for education loan. Once you get the education loan, you don't have to do anything else. You don't have to maintain that money in your bank account, nothing. You show them that these are the papers. I have got the education loan approved, and then the university will take care of it.
Right.
So these are the two things. So the challenge is just like if you come from a like good family, like not good, sorry, people who have a lot of funds, then sure that can help. And the second is take education loan. It might have the same impact. You don't have to tell that I came on the education loan or something. So nothing, not much different.
All right. All right. So that brings us to our last final question. Is there any final piece of advice you'd like to offer to aspiring lawyers?
I would just say that if you have listened to my whole story, that I never been an A grade student. I'm not the one who raises hands like I know the answer. Even though I knew the answer, I would not. I do not like talking to, at that time, especially when I was doing undergrad. I'm a very, like, I won't say introvert, but I never liked talking to people. It's just like, even though I know the answer, I am always not shy. I just don't, like, care. Like, I'm not proving it to show other people. Somebody answers, and I'm like, that's the wrong answer. But I know the answer correct. And when the lecturer would say, I say, I am happy with the answer I had. So it doesn't really matter. I would suggest people to focus as much as they can on the actual law. Do not focus on, like, don't stress yourself with remembering the sections. Don't remember, like, whether you are a bad student or nothing. Take law as a story. Law is generally more about illustrations, which you can compare it with having, like, thinking about a story, or this happened. Like, most of the people are fascinated by, like, criminal law. Why? Because it's very, like, oh, he's the murderer, because people have such mindset that I will catch the murderer once I have all the facts around. So it is a story. Law is a story. Whether you're an A grade student or not, take everything as a story, think about it, and and go to a lot of moot courts, which will increase your confidence. Genuinely, having that confidence in law is the most important thing. Whether you can speak English, Hindi, in the end, it doesn't really matter. Have the confidence, learn the language, because in the end, English is the language that people judge you on.
Yeah, that's some great advice. Thank you so much for that. This also brings us to the end of this episode of Brief Encounters. Thank you so much, Mayank, for being here and sharing such valuable insights. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. And to our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you found today's discussion as enlightening as I did. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow, rate, and leave us a comment. Until next time, this is Riya signing off.